Hello, Gabbers. Welcome back from Thanksgiving break. My name is Kate.
My name is Carolyn, and today we are talking a lot about VPR, Vanderpump Rules. We have so much news to share with you. Then we get into the secret lives of Mormon wives, and then we go into our Real Housewives Roundup, talking about the recent episodes of RHONY and Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. It's all coming to you right now. Can't wait.
Woo! Hey everyone, welcome back to Girls Unscripted. My name is Kate.
My name is Carolyn.
And we are back from our Thanksgiving break. We hope you guys all had an amazing Thanksgiving. We hope you ate well. We hope you rested. We hope you saw family. One of those things, maybe all three, maybe some additional things. We support everything you did over Thanksgiving.
If you got a tattoo, we support it.
Yes, and if you did get a tattoo, DM it to us. We'd love to see it. Also, I just want to let you guys know, I mentioned this to Carolyn before we started. I rent a home that has gardeners that come once a month, and we never really know when they're coming. And the moment we started recording, they started weed whacking outside of my house. And if you're watching, you actually may see them outside of this window. So if you can hear them in the background, sorry.
Sorry, and say it with me now. Make us famous so we can have our own studio close to home.
That's soundproof.
That's soundproof. Exactly. That's the key.
Awesome. Well, Carolyn, you literally got back this morning from your trips home.
Oh, hell yeah. I got delayed in Nashville due to, it was snowing there. And so all the planes got backed up and they had to be de-iced. And so I was on the tarmac for 3 hours, long story short. And then we had to go get Kyle's car from the other building and get it here. Oh, it's a disaster. So yeah, we got in at 3 a.m.
There's nothing worse, truly. Maybe I'm being dramatic, but one of my top 10 least favorite things is when you go through like a day of annoying travel and you finally land like in your final destination, and then you have to go and get your car.
Yes, that is exactly what happened.
Oh my God. And it's just that extra little bit. It doesn't even matter if it's like a 7-minute shuttle ride away. That 7-minute shuttle feels like 4 fucking hours to
Forget Laxit. At that time, I was like, I don't care what we pay. We are not going to Laxit. We are getting, so we did like Lyft Black Car, which was half the price of Uber Black Car, but they can come to the curbside.
That's right. So for those of you that don't know, I feel like most airports are kind of like this these days, but LA does not allow you to call.
LA's the worst.
Yeah, LA's the worst airport.
LA is awful.
They do not allow you to call Lyfts or Ubers to like pick you up from the fucking airport. So you have to take in it like what a normal person would do. So you have to take an additional shuttle to a side parking lot and then call your Uber, Lyft, or taxi from there. I always just take a taxi because there's so many goddamn people waiting for a Lyft or an Uber. I just want to get out of there so bad. I don't even care. But taxis are horrible. I actually wouldn't recommend. Yeah.
I can't believe they're still in business after all this.
Well, and the thing is like the beauty of Uber and Lyft is you do know how much it's going to be before you get into it.
That's
when
so
you take
true.
that taxi,
you're just rolling the dice.
You are just hoping for the best. And like you could get to your destination, right? And it could say $20 on the meter. They put that car in park, add those taxes and fees, you're paying $45. I'm like, wait a second, where did this come from?
It's truly like a Wheel of Fortune guess at that point. It's like whatever comes up is your price.
It does make things pretty exciting. Did it snow in Nashville while you were there?
Just while I was leaving, yeah.
That's even shittier.
I know. It was so cute. My nieces were so excited.
And you were like, I'm so excited too. I want to fucking kill myself.
Oh no, when I was on the plane, I was like, I am loading up. Like I took a gummy, I took like an Ativan, and I just went to bed. I was like, I hate this.
Good thing though that they didn't make you get off the plane. Imagine if you loaded the fuck up like that and then they were like, all right, actually we're gonna have you all get off of the plane, and then you wouldn't have been able to sleep. I feel like you would go insane.
I would have gone absolutely insane. I did go insane as it was, but it is what it is, and we're here and we're happy and healthy.
Hell yeah. Well, not to rub it in for you, Carolyn, but I did stay home in LA for Thanksgiving, and I haven't done that in a little bit. Normally, I'll either go to Palm Springs with family, or like I think I mentioned last year, I went to Ireland. I forgot how glorious Los Angeles is when no one is fucking here.
Oh, it's so peaceful. You can drive places. Last night, it took us 20 minutes from the airport to get home. What Ah, beautiful. Reminded me of COVID.
Okay, honestly, it does. Like, I hate to fucking glorify COVID, but yes, like being able to just have no one on the road and being able to drive. And we went to a friend's house on the east side of town. It would normally take us like probably 40, 45 minutes to get there. It took us like 28 minutes. We were fucking riding in style. And it was weird because it's like Dan also didn't have work all last week. So him and I had never just like been in our home together with nothing to do. And we called it a homecation. And it was pretty nice, actually.
That's so fun. Did you do anything cute? Like, what did you do? Were you like, homecation, now we're gonna...
We have the Christmas tree, so we like decorated the Christmas tree.
Hell yeah.
We didn't like do much, though. We were both we went on some walks together. We really didn't do anything. We watched some movies.
To me, this just sounds like you did a lot of stuff, if you know what I mean. Hey-oh, high five. Woo,
I can neither confirm nor deny. We're young and in love, okay? What can I say? We did watch this really good Netflix documentary that I feel like everyone's talking about called Buy Now. And I would highly recommend it for anyone that hasn't seen it. It will make you rethink your entire fucking existence as a consumer, but it puts the blame on the companies, not so much us, but it's basically a documentary about how there's so much waste and trash and garbage that is being created because of high consumerism. And like, I didn't know this, but apparently like these big fashion brands, if they don't sell their inventory, they rip it all up. They stab it, they knife it, and then they throw it away because they don't want anyone to ever be able to resell it at a discounted price because then it like devalues their brand. So it's just a documentary explaining like all the waste that is created from all of these things, this mass production of things. Yeah. And it kind of says that like recycling, even though a lot of these boxes and plastics say that they can be recycled, they actually really can't. And it shows all these landfills around the whole world and in Ghana, in the UK, where all these things are being taken to. Shoes are a big one because shoes are made of rubber, so they last forever. Like, it's crazy. I would recommend anybody watch it if you're listening and you want a good doc. It honestly, while I was watching it, I was like, wow, this kind of makes me feel like shit. But then towards the end, I'm like, oh, it's not my fault. It's the big company's fault.
Well, yeah. And I feel like we take so many things for granted just being in a modern society. And one of them is we literally put trash in our trash cans and never think about it again.
They say that.
Someone picks it up and it goes somewhere far away. Like, just think about all the trash you had last week.
Yeah.
That's somewhere else now. It didn't just like, I know there's compactors and they try to recycle, but like, most of it is still just sitting in a landfill somewhere.
100%. That's exactly what they say. And they even say that about donating clothes. They're like, you throw your clothes in a bin and you think it's being sent somewhere and you feel like a good person. And then it flash forwards to this beach in Ghana where the waves are just piled with t-shirts and shoes and socks. And like
that's awful.
You do kind of just like throw things out and actually never think of it again.
Yeah.
So it was interesting.
Speaking of, I can hear the trash truck outside my apartment right now. So if you hear that, I apologize.
I can't hear it.
Okay, great.
So you're okay. There's I always feel like we do that, and we did that last pod too, and I think we ended up cutting it because we were like, we
can't hear anything.
Yeah, we have the heat on and it's really loud, and then we listen to it back. We're like, you literally can't hear anything. But we have to give her warnings just in case, obviously.
Duh.
It was probably one of the worst weeks for us to take off as what started as a Vanderpump Rules only podcast. Last week was the week that all of the Vanderpump Rules news broke, and we weren't here to talk about it.
I see the glass half full on this one because we had the whole week to let all of the news break out, and now we can do it all in a lump sum.
Okay, you know what? Fair.
You know, and this can be just like another big Vanderpump big ass episode.
And I love nothing more than Vanderpump and big ass in the same sentence. So let's just fucking go. I feel like we have to do it in order of how things happened.
Okay, well then you need to lead that because I don't know the order of how it was announced.
On Monday, it was announced that Schwartz and Sandys is closing.
Right.
And that really kind of came as like a surprise to no one. It is what it is. Actually, it did come as a surprise to me that it stayed open for as long as it did. I feel like they were doing fine. I feel like there was always, from what you could tell, there was always people in there, but I guess that's why you can't believe everything you see on social media.
And maybe it's because I've only been, whenever we'd go to UCB, which is a comedy club right by there, we would go to Schwartz and Sandy's, and it was empty, like very, very empty. I never saw people in there.
Well,
but there was
there
only
you
like
have it.
3 times, so I can't say I went
Well,
like every week.
Carolyn, 3 times is a lot of times for you to go into a bar and have it to be empty every single time.
Just so empty. And like, no offense, but like the food wasn't that great. I'm shocked that all that, I'm not shocked. I just feel poorly for his poor mom. That he
Oh my
took
gosh,
all that
yes.
money from.
She better get her fucking money back.
Didn't she like cash in her 401k or something?
Something
Let him
like
do
that.
this?
Something like that.
Absurd. So
Well, not only that, I mean, Tom Schwartz imploded his entire marriage over this bar.
Yes. Yeah. Was it worth it?
And that's what all the comments were saying. Was it worth it? Was it worth it? Like, to say that they sacrificed a lot for this bar truly is an understatement.
Yeah. And all these things, like whether it's a bar or entertainment, like you're going to have to sacrifice something, but you always have to live a life outside of that. Like it can't just be your life because nothing's guaranteed. Nothing.
And didn't they pull out of Tom Tom so they could do more at Schwartz and Sandy's? I vaguely remember that from an episode.
I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, wasn't there something with Tom Tom that Lisa like bought them out?
I think they got bought out or they dissolved their shares or something like that. Like
it's just now their name, which is crazy.
Yeah, and that place, in my opinion, Tom Tom will never go out of business. Tom Tom, every time I've been, packed.
Pumping. Well, it's the place to be. It's not on a strip mall in Los Feliz.
Exactly.
Like it's right around the corner from Pump and everything, so it makes sense. I mean, not Pump. Oh, sir.
Well, and Pump, when Pump used to be there, R.I.P.
Right. All right, rest in peace.
And it will be around the corner from Brit's Bar.
Yes, exactly.
Don't forget.
Go, girl.
But that actually reminds me, so they all posted statements announcing that this was going out of business, and they all were different statements. That Tom Schwartz posted one, Sandoval posted one, Schwartz and Sandys posted one. Sandoval's I found to be interesting because at the end of his statement, he writes, "The allure of being associated with reality TV has hidden what is an amazing spot and location for LA locals as well." In my opinion, he's basically saying a lot of people didn't want to go to our bar because it was on reality TV. And like, if you guys would have just given it a chance, like you would have known it was a really cool bar.
I was wondering what he meant by that because I read that too, and I was like, what? He's saying, wouldn't the lure of a reality bar get more customers in the door?
Exactly.
That doesn't make sense.
Or
It's
maybe,
very
but
Sandoval
I
thing.
think allure is probably the wrong word. If he
Yeah.
would have said like, this is not a right word, but like the stink, right? Like the stink. But think about it. If he would have wrote the stink of being associated with reality TV has hidden what should be an amazing spot. And then I'd be like, okay, he's obviously talking about Scandival. Like the reason that this bar didn't do as well, there are many reasons. And I don't think that Scandival was the only reason, but that was a huge reason, obviously. And there was even comments where Victoria Lee Robinson responded to a comment and was like, actually, their business was better after the scandal.
Whatever, Victoria Lee Robinson. What else did she say, though? I saw that you...
Yeah, so she has this really long comment. I won't read the whole thing, but it actually has to kind of do what you were saying, Carolyn, of how it's kind of in a weird place in Los Feliz. She writes in this comment, "If only you were allowed to properly promote the place on the show as planned," which I think she means like because Greg didn't really want them to film there.
Oh.
It's really a specific comment. If only someone would have allowed you to have access to the shopping center sign that came with the property so people could see it as the place is in a hidden corner. And then in parentheses, which I tried to pay for and surprise you with multiple times, but was turned down.
Oh,
I mean,
sweet.
you guys don't even have control of your own Instagram. The list goes on and on. I felt bad from the beginning for the both of you. So she's basically blaming all these outside factors, and everyone online is like, girl, Tom wrote that. Tom wrote that and posted it from your fucking Instagram. Why the fuck does she care so much? It's obviously Sandoval.
Tom was like, hey, babe, could you post this thing and list these exact 5 reasons of why our bar closed or was forced to close?
Yeah.
I mean,
it was because it wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault.
It was if only this. He says that with everything. He still to this day says that with like Raquel or Rachel. He's like, well, she was her thing. I don't know.
She came on to me, man. Like, what do you expect me to do? She literally got naked and went in my pool. Like, dude, she came on to me. Like, oh my God.
His fault. I think the second rising of Christ will be when Tom Sandoval admits that he is at fault for something.
And then Tom will say, see that second rising of Christ? I did that.
Yeah, exactly.
That was me.
That was me just because out of my own heart, because I'm a good guy. And I just like to do things for people.
I like to do things for my friends. My friends wanted the second rising of Christ. So I said, you know what? I'll do that for you. And I even threw in a sword signed by Randy Jackson.
It wasn't easy. It wasn't like easy thing to get.
Tom,
we could go on and on.
I listened to Scheana's podcast titled RIP VPR, where they kind of talk about the reboot and the show ending and blah, blah, blah. And I think it was Lala that said, you know, Lala's like, I'm in a very happy place right now. And I can say the same for the rest of the cast. Actually, let me see exactly what she said, because it was pretty interesting.
Can she say that?
Well, she said
no one's talking to her, so it makes it difficult. That was mean. Sorry, Lala.
She said, no, well, you're not wrong. She said she's happy in the space that she's in, and she can kind of agree that she thinks everybody feels happy in the space that they're in currently, except for maybe the Toms. And she said that the next chapter of their lives will be something to look forward to, and she's glad that this chapter is over for them. So me reading between the lines is her saying this show wasn't good for them. They need to grow the fuck up. But I think anybody with eyes could have probably seen that.
I don't even think that's reading between the lines. I think that's what she's saying. Like, I think that is the line. Is this didn't end up well for them. Like, they did not execute this whole reality TV thing properly. Like, it was a net negative.
Right.
Let's say that.
Right. They could have ended on top, and they didn't. But there is an argument to say that Scandival did give the show an 11th season.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
So,
it gave them a lot of money. I mean, Ariana got the most, obviously, out of anybody. But at least there's 11th season. They got the paycheck for that.
Yeah.
Good job.
Good job.
Yeah.
I honestly, I can't even break down this whole like Lala and Scheana podcast because there's just so much. Like,
what? Was Lala on the podcast?
it was Scheana's podcast, Lala, Janet, and Jared, our good friend Jared from the Valley.
Yes, I love him.
They were all on the podcast, and it kind of was basically just Janet asking them questions like, well, how do you feel that there's a new cast and blah, 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 and all these things. And Scheana didn't really have too many opinions. I have a theory that she had opinions and they cut them out. I think she listened to them back and she sounded ungrateful. Lala was extremely grateful, but Lala said some things that I'm like, what? Like she said, you know, I wanted to be done after season 10. I knew if I came back for another season, it wouldn't have been good. I didn't want to come back for season 11. But then you flash forward to her in season 11 screaming at Ariana like, you're taking food out of my kid's mouth by not wanting to film and blah, blah, blah. So it's like, it was very wishy-washy. It was kind of hard to keep up with. They did say, Scheana said, so Kristen Doute, the next up thing, was Kristen Doute announced that she's pregnant. But she announced it, which, hell fucking yeah.
It happened.
It happened. When we met her, she may have been pregnant. She probably was.
I was thinking the same thing.
She probably was.
Yeah.
So
Trimester
maybe
a few months ago.
Wait, Carolyn. Maybe that's why she was so weird to
Yeah.
us, because we went up and we were like, we just want to say congratulations, and maybe she just found out she was pregnant.
Like a fembot and just smiled and was
but
like,
maybe
"Thank
she
you."
thought we were congratulating her on her pregnancy, and she thought it like got leaked.
Oh shit!
Instead, we were congratulating her on her engagement.
That's a good theory, because she
Maybe.
was weird. Something
She was
weird.
like she kind of looked
She
like a
was-
deer in the headlights when we said congratulations.
That would make it make more sense. She really did. Wow, good catch, Kate. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Were we the first people to congratulate Kristen Doute on her
Oh
pregnancy?
my god. Oh, I've done many things wrong in this life, but that is one thing that we did right. So right.
That was crazy. Wow. That is such a brain blast. Even if it's not true, I'm going to tell myself it is true. And that's what
It
happened.
is now, because we create what we think.
But yeah, so apparently she underwent IUI, which I don't know what that is. It stands for
Intrauterine insemination.
I literally, Carolyn, could not read intrauterine. my brain just froze. Intrauterine insemination. Okay.
The word looks intimidating when you first glance at it. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell is that? Anyways, so she underwent that, and she apparently got pregnant on the first try.
That's great.
So good for her.
Good for her.
But on the podcast, Scheana claims, so they all received a call that the show was ending. I don't know how quickly
Who called
before.
them? Who called them?
Alex Baskin.
Of course. Good old Alex.
I don't know how quickly before. I don't know if it was a day before. I don't know if it was the night before. I don't know if it was 2 days before. There's a lot of rumors around when it actually was. And according to Scheana, she called Kristen right away and said, you're obviously not going to receive this call that Vanderpump Rules is ending because you're not on it anymore. But I do want to let you know they're announcing it tomorrow. And I know you're planning to announce your pregnancy tomorrow. I don't want that to be overshadowed by this Vanderpump Rules. And
that's nice.
And apparently Kristen technically got it out before the Vanderpump Rules news came out, but it still came out on the same day.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, well, that was thoughtful of Scheana.
It was thoughtful of Scheana. Scheana did make a joke on the podcast where she was like, first, I just want to thank everyone for checking in on me because of that comment. Has anyone checked on Scheana?
I love that. Yeah, but what about Scheana?
Yeah, so I'm like, maybe she's becoming a bit more self-aware. Who's to say?
Who's to say? And we'll probably see her on the Valley, so it's all good.
Oh, yeah. I feel like they're chilling. Like, okay, so now let's really get into like the news. That is, Vanderpump Rules season 12 is going to be rebooted with an entirely new cast. We kind of saw this coming. I didn't necessarily see this coming in quite this capacity, though. What do you think?
I had known that a whole new cast was being developed. I had secret inside sources, and I knew that it was being developed. But I was under the impression that they would still have the original cast, do a send-off or a transition episode.
Exactly.
So to have it just completely cut off done was a surprise to me. I don't know about you.
No, I completely agree. That was my mindset as well. I also, from similar insider information, also kind of knew this would be what was happening. But yeah, not to this extent, not a full fucking reboot. I thought at least we'd get sprinkles of the cast in there. Again, a transition episode. And they talk about that on this podcast with Scheana. I do think this podcast with Scheana and Lala is kind of the first one that's really talking about it.
Yeah.
And Janet makes a great point, and she says, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills into Vanderpump was the originator of the transition into a new show.
Right.
And it set the scene. Then they did it from Vanderpump into Summer House, Vanderpump into the Valley. You would think they would honor that and do it again.
Their own show.
But at the same time, they're not going into a new show. They didn't this is not how they did it with the RHONY reboot. They didn't restart at season 1. They started at season 14 or 15 or something like that. Like, they're just kind of erasing them. I do think there has to be some talks of them, but there wasn't on RHONY.
I think this is a mistake. I do think Vanderpump Rules has run its course. I think everyone knew that, and it was time to have a transition. For them to do a solid cutoff and just go to a new cast, it's a completely different show. They should rebrand it. It can be Vanderpump Rules adjacent, like Vanderpump Rules The Next Generation or something. Yeah. But to associate it with the original show, this show started back in 2012, around then, when reality TV development was like, hey, I know this crazy group of friends, let's film them. Now it's 2024, and reality TV development is, hey, let's go find a bunch of crazy people and make them be friends to do crazy things together. Those are two different shows. Yeah. And I just think, and they try to say, they're organic friends. It's the same vibe. I hope that's true. But if we learned anything from RHONY, yikes.
Yeah.
Yikes.
I do think from the times that I've been to SUR, I will say, I do see a lot of the same servers there, like every single time I'm there. Yeah. So it does see, I do believe that they are all actually friends. I mean, when we interviewed Peter said that they all went to someone's wedding together. That gives me some hope. I do feel that the biggest glaring difference between what a Vanderpump Rules now would be versus a Vanderpump Rules then is we have Southern Hospitality. We have Vanderpump Villa. Those are the shows where it's a bunch of hot young people working at a restaurant together. Whereas Vanderpump Rules is not that anymore. Vanderpump Rules is no longer about young people living and working in Los Angeles. It is about a group of friends that have been through so much shit together that we've grown to love over 12 years. That's why we watch it. We don't like we're
they're
not
starting over. They're starting
and
it
now
all
they're starting over,
again.
and it's never going to be the Vanderpump Rules as it once was. I actually kind of like your like Vanderpump Rules the Next Generation type thing. It reminds me of Degrassi. Do you ever watch Degrassi?
Yes, exactly.
And that did just fine.
Yeah.
I do think though it is for the best. I think a lot of people agree. As much as we're sad by it, we did not need another season. That season 11 finale was it. They literally did flashbacks of the entire fucking cast from the time they were. There is, in my opinion, no story left to tell.
Yeah, they've all done it. They have nothing left to say. They have said it all. They've done it all. It's all happened. It is all
happened. I mean, literally think about it. It's like James is off with Allie. He's DJing. He's achieved his dream of being a DJ. He's literally a DJ.
Which we did not see coming in his early years.
No.
Like, good for him. He's grown so much.
No, everyone has finished their stories. Katie and Schwartz, we followed their love story up until a fucking divorce. They're done. Like, their story's done. Tom and Ariana, their story's done. Scheana is married with a kid. Lala is with a kid. Like, everyone's story is, they're done growing up. They've grown up. I love them. I love them so much. I would watch a million more seasons of Vanderpump Rules. But as a fucking purist, I do think it's run its course. I think, sure, there may be scenes of like, we see James popping into surf or something. But I also think maybe this has to do with them not really fucking with Lisa anymore.
I wouldn't necessarily say that their stories are done. I would say that they're just in a new series of stories. And like
fair, AKA like why the Valley was made.
The Valley, right. So like there's still drama and there's still excitement. Like they're not dying, but it's just not what it was. Like it's no longer a show about going through the crazy developmental years of your 20s and 30s to figure out who you're settled down with. And now the Valley is like the next set of stories of like we're settling down, but there's still issues in that department.
That's fair, yeah. Lala's sentiment on this, I actually loved. I don't know how
sincere.
Yeah, I don't know how sincere. Yeah, exactly. Like, but she did say, which I loved, and she said, you know, she's having what she calls the graduation effect, where it's like you never want to go back to high school, but you look back on all the fond memories and you're like, that was amazing. And, you know, she just like really gives a shout out to the show and the cast. And she's like, you know, we've had so many ups, so many downs. But she says, I remember saying like, this is such a wild show. This is amazing that we're on it. This isn't going to last forever. And now that time has finally come. And she said she doesn't feel like they've been replaced, but she feels like they've graduated, which I think is a nice way to think of it. I think that they've graduated too. And that kind of goes along with your point is you're right. You are right. Their story is not done. It's just a different story. I think someone then said like, wow, this new cast is going to have really big shoes to fill. And then Janet said, I actually don't want the new cast to fill your guys' shoes. Like, I want them to do their own thing. I don't want them to try to
shoes.
Exactly.
We want them to make their own shoes to fill.
Exactly. And that's, they're saying like, they want them, and I agree, they want them to come in and be real and authentic and not try to recreate, you know, what they've already done. And Lala says like, I want them all to fuck each other. I want them all to make mistakes. Like, and she did say she's excited to see them. I have a feeling that Lala and Scheana really want to become full-time cast members on The Valley. So they are not going to bite the hand that fed them all these years. They are going to say the nicest things about this reboot. They're going to be supportive of it because they do stand a chance of being on The Valley. They don't want to fuck that up.
Well, and there's no reason to be anti-reboot. I mean, the show was going to end eventually. What would they gain by just trashing Alex Baskin? You know, like it's
they could be anti-reboot. I could see them being like, they should have kept us on. I have a feeling Scheana's anti-reboot. Because when Lala was saying this sentiment of like how happy she is and how she wishes them the best, she does kind of briefly say like, and I know you don't necessarily feel the same way, Scheana, or like something like that.
Okay, well that's also Scheana.
I think it's one thing if they scrap the show entirely, and then they are the only Vanderpump Rules cast. I think it's another thing that they didn't scrap the show and are essentially replacing them.
Yeah.
Like on the challenge. Johnny Bananas and CT and all of them, like they are like, we're the originals. Like no one can do it like us because we're the best and we laid the groundwork for you. And they're always kind of bitter towards like the new people. That is what this is going to be.
Oh, totally. It's vets versus rookies. Like that's what this is. And it's funny because we're so like prejudiced, at least I am, when I was even at SUR and someone was like, they're on the show. I saw a couple of the servers and I just thought to myself, ugh, they seem so boring. Like, it's just, I'm in grim, like, there's no way they're as dramatic as Lala Kent or, like, Scheana Shay. I'm like, that's not true. We have no idea. They could be 10 times more crazier than, like, anyone else. We just don't know.
Gen Z, unhinged.
Unhinged, yeah. We could see a whole different type of fight that we didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
The possibilities are endless here.
No, totally. I completely agree with you. I did see someone on TikTok say something that I completely fucking agree with. And they said there should be a new rule on reality TV where you can't take a brand deal for the first 2 years that you're on. And you can't start a podcast but then let's see who actually wants to be on reality TV. A lot of these people go on reality TV so they can make money off of brand deals and shit like that. And do podcasts and have people listen to them. It's like, maybe let's put in their contract that they can't do that and then see who still wants to be on. Because a lot of times these people are joining for the wrong reasons.
For all the wrong reasons, as they say on The Bachelor. You gotta come for the right reasons.
You have to come for the right reasons. But look, I'm actually looking forward to it. I've had some time to sleep on it. And I accept it.
I accept it too. And look, I'm just seeing it as a whole new show. I'm coming in with zero thoughts or feelings or opinions on it, and I'm just gonna see what they do with it. And it can be I can have the same title and still be a new show. Like it is, they're completely replacing everybody. So
totally.
I'm excited to see what comes of it. I hope it's great. For this podcast, I hope it's great so we can talk about it.
Oh, we sure will.
How sad if it's a dud, but we'll see.
And I do think we have some time until it's out. I bet it won't be out until at least next fall.
Oh, okay. So yeah, well,
I think there's they said there's no premiere date. There's really no production schedule. I do think they filmed a little bit. Who knows though? It might only be 8 episodes and it might be short and sweet. But I mean, Vanderpump typically shoots in the summer. So maybe they'll change the shooting schedule for this. I don't know.
Crazy times.
It is crazy. I wonder if what they could do to soften the blow for the originals is, remember for a hot second, Jax and Brittany had an after show where they were like watching. I think it was Vanderpump Rules and like
that's a great pitch.
Like kind of what they do on like 90 Day Fiance where they have them like watching from bed. It would be funny to have like Lala and Scheana watch together, Katie and Ariana watch together, and the Toms watch together, and just you would need James Kennedy in that.
Catherine, that is a beautiful pitch. And Peacock listened. Oh, that would be golden. Because then they still are involved and we still see them and they're involved with the show itself. And their 2 cents.
And I could see if, let's say there's a scene where someone talks back to the bar manager, right? Then you see Scheana being like, oh, you don't talk back to that person. Like that person puts up with no bullshit. Like that would be kind of funny.
You can have some inside scoop. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. If they don't do that, I'll now be upset. I'll write a letter and give you the credit.
We'll see how much of Peter we get. Peter has been reposting some memes saying that he played the long game by being the only one still working at SUR, and he's nodding to the fact that he will be on the show, and that would make sense because he actually still works there. So
job security.
Job security. There you have it. There you fucking have it. I am excited. Like I said, I've had some time to think about it, and I'm excited.
I'm excited too, but what I'm also really excited for you about, but confused if you're not as excited about this, is the blending, the crossover of your favorite shows with Pauly D going on tour with James Kennedy. Are you not Are you wet right now? Like you should be so excited.
I'm not excited because I didn't see an LA date on there. They've been doing like weird ass like New Hampshire and shit. Let me see. I didn't know that a tour was announced, if I'm being honest with you.
Oh, like I don't know that they're going on the road together. I don't know what all it means, but there's definitely.
I saw that. Yeah, I didn't see LA on there. I did see. Okay, let's see the dates. Hold on.
Even if there's not LA, I just love the idea of it and that it's happening.
Well, here's the thing. It says this is DJ Pauly D. DJ Pauly D will be in LA, but it'll be when I'm at home for the holidays. Yeah, it's exciting. And let me tell you something, Carolyn. I would be fucking front and center on that shit. I just feel like LA is never on the fucking list.
Yeah.
For them, which is weird because typically you would think it will be, but I'm keeping my eye out. It is my absolute favorite crossover of the century, obviously.
Like if you saw them together, I mean, can you imagine a picture of you like in the middle? I see this for you. I got excited.
Let me tell you a missed opportunity though for them to name their tour. I just thought of it.
Okay.
Think Jersey Shore, Italian, right?
Yeah.
The tour should be called It Is About the Pasta. That's all I'm saying.
God, you're good. You're
That's all I'm saying.
Good at this. Someone rep her as a producer. This is gold.
I'm actually having a lot of ideas this episode.
Yeah, you are. Like, what did you take this morning? Because your mind is in a great place.
You ever see Limitless? I took the Limitless drug. Have you ever seen that movie?
No.
Honestly, great movie, Bradley Cooper. But yeah, I mean, I'll keep an eye out and we'll fucking go, obviously. And I'll live the whole thing.
If it's here and you're not there, I'll go in your honor. Well, I'm going to go regardless.
Oh, no matter what. One of us is going to fucking go. Okay, I feel like, and there's some Secret Lives of Mormon Wives shit. Do we want to do a quick recap of this before we get into our Real Housewives?
Have you been
Okay, here's the thing.
This?
I have been keeping up with news that I think is worthy of me keeping up with. Mm-hmm. I don't give a fuck about this fight between Demi, Taylor, and Jesse. They didn't comment on her CMT Awards post, and now she's mad. Have you heard about this whole thing?
I heard that they were in a feud, but I didn't know what about. It's about a post?
It started because Taylor said no one supported her when she went to the CMTs, and then they were like, yes, we did. And I honestly can't even speak on it. Yeah.
Music? What? Why did she expect support?
I don't know. She was like presenting an award or something, maybe. I don't know. I think it's dumb. I'm going to say it. I think that shit is dumb.
Okay. I agree. And I didn't follow that story. So we're on the same page.
I think we have to be able to differentiate what is actual real drama and what isn't. And the actual real drama is what you wrote down, this shit with McKenna.
Woo!
Yeah.
Woo! Back and forth. I mean, we can summarize it pretty quickly. And that talking about Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, Taylor Frankie Paul is a star, and their show originated around the soft swinging scandal. And the girl that was really the opposing character in this was not on the show and never made a statement and never said anything. And we knew who she was because Taylor was having an affair with her husband, and she stayed silent until now. And now she did like a 5-6 part series of her telling her side of the story. Yeah. Which I will admit, it didn't really give anything new, in my opinion. I mean, it was like, we kind of knew this. She kind of just gave specifics to things that were a little more amorphous in the beginning. Like, we know they hooked up 2 times and then she felt uncomfortable. And then the night that they slept together, Taylor was drunk and they went to this house first and this house first. It was a lot of semantics and details. That's like, okay, whatever. But she did paint a picture that she wanted to stop, and she didn't get that opportunity to stop with her husband, and therefore her marriage failed. And then Taylor clapped back with receipts of... Yeah. Oh my God, receipts that are so fire, like they're burning my brain just thinking about them. Well, she says she didn't want it to stop. She actually instigated it and then posted videos of her making out with McKenna and of McKenna texting her saying, I wish I was drunk and kissing you right now. But there's 2 sides to every story. I can see if she got caught up in it and was confused and would send and kiss her one day and not the next. I mean, these things are never cut and dry. So I don't know. It's like, it's drama. It's also not, in my opinion.
It, to me, was giving very much so like, she didn't want to take accountability for her actions. And sitting there being like, well, I didn't really want to do it. It's like, well, you say you didn't really want to do it, yet here we are taking videos, making out, and you're texting me, you're texting my husband. Like, I understand that your marriage failed, but like, that's not 100% on Taylor. Like, you guys agreed to do this.
Yeah.
Then there's a lot of talks because so the other girl that was involved in the swinging, Michaela, is going to be on season 2 of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, I believe. So now it's like, well, is McKenna trying to like get her fucking bag and be on the show? Is that because it is like, why now?
Why now?
You would think she would say it when it all happened, and if not then, you would think she would say it when the show started airing, and if not then, why now? Like, this is such a random time, and it does seem like they've been filming. It's kind of confirmed that Michaela's going to be on, so it just, I don't know if it's necessarily for the right reasons. And it is like, I get it though. You want to get your story across. Like, if the whole world was talking about a scandal that I was involved in, I would want to speak on it. I don't know. I also think Taylor Frankie Paul is catty. I do. I like her, but like, I think she's catty, and that's why we like her. It's funny. It's funny when she has these clapbacks and shit, but I think no matter what McKenna said, she was going to be met with some sort of receipt or clapback or something like that. And the TFP fans are not ones to fuck with. These people ride for Taylor Frankie Paul so hard. Like, good luck. Good luck.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's just get into the Real Housewives real fast. There were 2 episodes last week of RHONY and Salt Lake. Nay! Real Housewives Roundup. So there were 2 episodes of Real Housewives last week that we didn't talk about yet, of RHONY and Salt Lake. Let's start with RHONY. This was a pretty Aaron-heavy episode, but there were some other things. Why don't you start us off with some of the other things first to lighten the mood a bit?
Well, to lighten the mood a bit, I'm over this show.
I'll be honest with you too. It took so much of me to press play. I didn't want to watch it.
I didn't really want, and there wasn't a ton going on this episode. There were important things that went on this episode, but in terms of this whole plot line with Aaron and the prank, I am over it. Although I did want to highlight that the reveal of Jessel tricking her husband to marry her was epic. It makes me like her even more.
I love
comeback
them.
Story. Yeah, Jessel is the comeback story of the year. Like, she has done a phenomenal job of getting into my heart. That's
right. And sometimes like Pavitt talks and I'm like, are you kind of an asshole? But then like I'll hear stories like this and I'm like, this is just what works for you guys. So
it's true. This is the energy that you guys have, and you should embrace it at all costs. I thought it was interesting that Rebecca Minkoff still didn't give concrete answers to anything about Scientology. I mean, I think she thinks she's giving concrete answers. It's still very vague.
I think that when you're a Scientologist, you just can't really speak too publicly about it. And she's definitely been very trained.
I know. And the scary thing is, if she ever wanted to get out of it, she like couldn't. They make it so hard to leave. Oh, yeah. They stalk you. They ruin your life. They do all this stuff. Like, for all we know, she doesn't want to be in it. But she seems like she's happy. So.
Oh, she's a lifer. She's a lifer.
She's a lifer for sure.
Yeah, then we just get a lot of Aaron this episode, and you had mentioned it before. It was a very all the women are pretty anti-Aaron for this prank. I don't blame them. It was she had a hidden agenda to find the leaky pigeon. That's not a good friend. Like, she basically...
And that's not a prank.
It's not a prank.
That's a different thing. That's just mean.
Yeah, it was a little mean. It was stupid. I'm sure she regrets nothing more than this fucking prank at this point in time. We hear 2 pretty real stories between Aaron and Jenna about how they both had abortions young. And I think that was important to talk about on television. Aaron has been receiving a bit of backlash online, though, for it.
Why?
Because supposedly, fans, correct me if I'm wrong, she has donated money to the Trump campaign. So people are like, it's kind of interesting that you're such an advocate of abortion rights, yet you're like you've in the past donated money to the Trump campaign. And she said, like, she was approached about that in an interview and just said, I don't want to talk politics.
Wow. Do you have to publicly disclose if you give money to campaigns?
I don't know, but it's a good question because I feel like it's all public, right? Or like when companies do it.
Because I feel like this type of things happen all the time. And I'm like, how do people find out about it?
Yeah.
But I guess if you give that much money, you should probably get, interesting. That's all I'm going to say on that. I'm going to mum's a word.
Yeah, I don't really know all the details on that one, but that's what I've been reading on the web is that people were a little like, I don't know how I feel about this. But at the end of the day, it was a nice moment. The moment between her and her dad was beautiful. It like made me like, I was like, do I have any secrets that I can tell my parents? Because like, I'd like to tell them. I want to tell them something.
It was too triggering for me. I almost like had to fast forward through it because we're getting older. We're at the age where we're seeing our parents age themselves and us turning into the parents of our parents. I mean, it's just, it's so hard to watch.
It's really hard.
And he was so sick. You could just tell he wasn't well. And it was breaking my heart.
Yeah. His support was amazing. And even him saying like, I've actually gone through that too. And the girl got it and then she hated me afterwards, which was funny. They do a really nice tribute. I do think about that. It's like being on a reality TV show obviously sucks, but they were able to have this tribute to Aaron's dad of the moments that he was on TV and like to be able to have that is pretty amazing. Yeah. Cause then he ended up passing away a few months after that was filmed.
So sad. I feel really bad for Aaron, especially because Aaron was like, you're fine. You know, you don't seem that sick. And it's like, he really was. And she didn't know it on his last.
Dude, honestly, I've said this, like, I want to give her grace because, like, she went through that and her mom has cancer. Like, that's hard.
That's tough shit.
Yeah.
To have the time and emotional capacity to, like, pull a pigeon prank whilst all that is going on. Maybe it was an escape. I don't know. It's interesting. But back to your point about the video, I will say when you and Dan get married, because it's going to be a win, get the video. My wedding planner told me not to. And if I didn't have it, I'd be so sad because you get to be there and see exactly
I will 100%
buy
buy my wedding video. That's like crazy not to.
I know. It was like the best. I mean, it was only like $5,000 in the whole grand scheme of weddings. I was like, I'll take away a cake for a video. Like I can now see my dad's first look forever. Kyle's first look forever. But and other cast members have said on reality TV, like that is a silver lining of all the hard things they go through is they get their life documented. That's really cool and special for moments like these.
Totally. Dude, speaking of sad, I mean, then we go right into the Real Housewives of Salt Lake, and that's one of the most intense scenes I've ever seen in my entire life.
I was mind blown.
I was mind blown.
They do a scene of Mary approaching her son in his bedroom, and he admits to drug abuse and having a problem and even having suicidal ideations.
Yeah.
And they say really heavy things, you know, and Mary says how distraught she would be if she ever lost him. And he says she's the only reason he hasn't killed himself. And I mean, I have goosebumps talking about it. It was so real and so intense. And how brave of him to say that on camera.
I agree. And now I've seen a lot of people online actually kind of had some issues with that it was said on camera, but I thought, well, he agreed to it, first of all. And
he was mic'd.
I thought it was extremely important to see. I think that seeing a conversation like that could help someone, not only a kid, but could help a mom.
Yeah.
You know, I think a lot of times people can be in denial or they're like, oh, that's just how they are. And I feel like in the beginning of the episode, Mary was kind of in denial. She's knocking on his door. He's not answering. She's just like, I don't know what's happening to him, but whatever, you know? And then it wasn't until they really sat down and had that talk. I was shocked at how much he really opened up to her.
And granted, he was on drugs. I mean, he was on Xanax.
Right. And what was interesting is I feel like at first he was so matter of fact, and maybe he kind of had to guard up a little bit, and he just was like, I do Xanax, then I take Adderall to balance it out. Like
God.
he just poured out exactly what he did.
He literally listed, it was a cocktail.
I think that was kind of just like an information giving session, right? He was giving the information, Mary was receiving it. It wasn't until Mary started getting upset and being like, first of all, I thought she was a great mom in this scene of just being like, I don't support this, but I will never judge you. I want to help you. I want you to be happy.
But you have to help yourself.
Yeah, and then he starts crying, and they were just both extremely receptive, and like you really could feel the love between those two in that moment.
Yeah. I guarantee you that conversation, and I understand why people are like, why is he doing this on camera? Is it for the right reasons? That's the golden question for everything, right? But I guarantee you that conversation being aired saved someone's life.
It probably did.
Whether it's a mom realizing they need to approach their child or a child realizing that they need help, it probably saved a life. Millions of people watch this. Like,
yeah.
I was surprised Mary would allow us into this moment to begin with. I was surprised by that.
I was surprised too because
it.
I feel like she's quite private about her
everything.
life. Yeah, I was surprised by that too. Maybe it was Robert's idea. Maybe he felt more comfortable talking about it
with other people there.
Maybe he didn't want to do it one-on-one.
Yeah.
I don't know. He said two things that I thought were really great descriptors, but made me sad that he even said them. Yeah. The first was when he said, I feel like life is like chicken unseasoned and the drugs are the seasoning.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boom. That hit hard.
And then he said, when he was talking about his suicidal ideations and thoughts, he said, I felt like a stain. Which to me, hearing those two things, I'm like, you've really thought about this. Those aren't just two things you just like say. It hit, man. It hit. If anything, it opened up conversations between parents and kids.
100%. And like,
Hopefully.
he's clearly a smart kid for him to come to these conclusions and be that self-aware. So
yeah.
I really hope did he go to rehab? Do we know that he did that?
I think I saw an article saying that he is getting help.
Okay.
I'm really glad that Mary didn't ignore it and was like, I'm gonna face this head on because that can't be easy. Now, not to be a fucking bitch, but where the fuck is this dude's dad? Like, it's definitely just him and Mary. Like, I don't think that Mary's husband did much raising of this child.
Don't get me started on the stepdad.
Don't get me started on the husbands. It's not his stepdad. It's his dad.
Right, but the stepdad, Mary's stepdad. Sorry, let me be clear.
No, her step-grandfather.
Her step-grandfather. Yes, my bad. Oh, even worse. Don't get me started on that situation. It feels like he lives... Don't they have a house in Florida?
I think he's in Florida full-time.
I think that's just where he resides. And Mary has Salt Lake... But it sounds like she travels back and forth some.
Yeah.
He's not there. It's clear the dad is not there.
Yeah.
We don't see him, hear from him. And maybe it's because they're trying to keep the church stuff private because they've gotten some,
Maybe.
Not lashback. Yeah. Is lashback the word? Some lashback?
No, but I know what you're trying to say, and I can't.
What am I saying?
Like some
so
pushback?
Stupid. Some pushback. They're getting some pushback on some of the things that are being revealed about it. So maybe he just wants to be like separated from the TV. But as far as we know, he does not exist.
Yeah. I know.
I don't even know if he's alive.
Yeah, who knows what he's up to? He's off golfing somewhere.
Yeah, seriously.
There were some other intense scenes between Mary this episode. She got in two big fights, one with Meredith and one with Lisa.
Yeah, and man, I knew it was like the Roman Empire. Like it falls eventually. It eventually had to fall. And the friendship with Meredith and Mary, I knew at some point would fall.
Yeah.
And here we have it. We see it in an art gallery. Take it away, Kate.
Well, first of all, Mary is mad because Meredith left her house. But Meredith was being kind of yelled at and ganged up on. Mm-hmm. Granted, Meredith kind of started it, right? Like that was at that tea party from goddamn hell that everybody was just like, well, and then now I'm mad at this thing. Now I'm mad at this thing. Like, it is dumb. And I do think Mary is just so proper
Yeah.
I actually don't know what I would do if I was in Meredith's shoes there, because I feel like there wasn't a win there. Either Meredith leaves and she gets yelled at for leaving, or she stays and she gets yelled at for causing drama at Mary's house. But then Mary shows up to this art gallery peace offering an hour late, which not great. But as a viewer, we know what Mary's kind of going through. And also, as a viewer, we learned that this art gallery that Meredith wanted to meet up at was close to Meredith's house, but not Mary's house. Meredith wanted to meet up, and it's an hour away.
It's also so funny that this exact thing is a recurring plot line on so many housewife shows. Of they're waiting for like a makeup lunch and one's an hour late, and therefore the lunch doesn't go anywhere because they're so mad the person's an hour late. Did that happen with Teddy Mellencamp and some listeners? Tell me who it was. It was Teddy Mellencamp and someone being like, "You were fucking an hour late. That's so rude." But I will say neither of them were in the headspace for a peace offering.
No, they showed up and immediately started like throwing bows.
They were in a headspace for an apology from the other person.
Yeah.
So it was never gonna go anywhere.
It was like the quickest fight I've ever seen. They walked in, they exchanged like 4 words to each other. They were all mean, and then they left. I was like, damn.
Mean.
Yeah.
Fun.
And I can tell, I think it's just Mary. They're right to have these thoughts that Mary's going through something, because she is. And she's acting very differently than she has in past seasons. In past seasons, she doesn't really get involved. She walks away and she cuts you out of your life. But now she's kind of fighting back. And then at the fucking Girl Scout camp, whatever the hell, which I love the movie Troop Beverly Hills. Have you ever seen that?
Yes, it's so good. I did love that reference.
Yeah, that was a cute little thing. But Mary gets mad at Lisa. And for like, I don't even know what. And then Lisa's like, "Oh, it's because I wore the same jumpsuit as you." Like, now I understand. like it just does seem like Mary's kind of like grasping at straws for things to be mad at. But I also think at the end of the day, Mary doesn't really fuck with these girls at all. She likes Angie, and that's about it.
Well, yeah, but then she used to like Meredith, and that's about it. I'll claim it here. There's going to be a major fallout with Angie and Mary at some point.
Duh.
At some point. It could be in
There
years.
has to be.
But I think, again, the empire must fall eventually. I will say that Mary was trying to get Angie's attention at the Tea Party from Hell. Like, she didn't give her a pass. She was yelling at her also to shut up.
Yeah.
She was yelling at her to shut up and at Meredith to shut up, and neither of them were doing that. And so she said, "If you're not going to shut up, leave my house." And then Meredith left. I can see all sides of it.
Thank you for saying that, because that was driving me crazy as I was watching. Mary's all upset that Meredith left, but did she not tell her to leave?
She said, "If you're not going to listen to me, get out of my house."
Oh, okay. I get no. Yeah. Okay.
Or something like that. And
Yeah.
so it was like, she did, but also she was leaving the door open for you to listen to her, so you didn't have to leave the house. I don't know how I would have reacted, but I mean, everyone was just in shambles by that point.
Yeah.
I think it was good that someone exited the situation.
100%. There was also not an argument, more of a reconciliation, I guess, between Angie and Lisa at the aquarium.
Oh, yeah.
It was a quick, brief scene. I actually thought it was a pretty cute scene that they like brought their kids to like see the snake.
That is cute.
But then it was funny because they just like sent the kids off to like run around in an empty room while they like kind of argued with each other.
Yep, totally. It was such a Lisa argument. It was just like, "Well, I just thought that like la 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 la." I can't even remember what she said. I just know that they're on better terms. Do I think it'll stick? I think it's going to take a minute for it to stick, but we'll see.
I think with Angie, I hate to say it, but I kind of was calling bullshit on what she was saying during that scene. So basically,
Me
Lisa
too,
was like,
actually.
Yeah, Lisa was like, "You just don't stand up for me. And I feel like ever since you got closer to Whitney, you take her side." And Angie was like, Angie said something like, "I think because my mom was sick growing up, when big things happen, I shut down and I stay quiet. And that's why I didn't stick up for you," or something like that. She was like, I've been conditioned to stay quiet. And I'm listening like, bitch, you are never quiet. You literally stand up and yell across the table like every time there's a fight. Am I crazy?
Yeah, no. And I hate to say it because it's like, I'm not trying to minimize her trauma as a child, but her behavior doesn't match what she's saying, because she does scream probably one of the most in the group. I mean, she'll just keep going. She does not stop.
Yeah.
There is not a stop button on that girl. And I do think she would just wanted to say something to get Lisa back in her good graces.
Right.
I just think she would say anything for them to be able to move forward.
Yeah, and they're good now.
Oh my God, mark my words, the reunion's going to be nuts when Lisa sees all the stuff that Angie has said about her. Like that walking trip with Bronwyn,
yeah.
where they did explicitly say, watch out for Lisa.
Dude, they are all talking so much shit behind each other's backs.
They're so messy. It's wild. They're going to see this.
I listened to Bronwyn when on the Vile Files. And first of all, Nick Vile and Natalie, his wife, talk so much shit on Lisa Barlow. And they say something like Nick has a comment where he says to Bronwyn, he goes, you're like really, really rich. Like you're really wealthy. And Bronwyn was like, well, my husband's wealthy, but blah, blah, blah. And then Nick goes, well, all I'm saying is you're actually wealthy and Lisa pretends to be wealthy.
Nick,
why
are we talking about this?
I'm like, Nick, who hurt you? Like what? Like, and then they say like, well, we've never met Lisa. We've never had her on the show. I'm like, then why the fuck are you talking all this shit? And Bronwyn did say, she was like, Lisa sees the world through Lisa colored glasses, not even rose colored glasses. Like, but I was reading between the lines that they are not good.
No, absolutely not.
She did kind of say the relationship was very different before they went on the show versus now.
And that's how it is with anytime anyone brings a friend on the show.
Yeah.
Name a time when someone brought a friend on the show and they didn't hate each other by the end of it.
And it actually worked out. Yeah. The limit does not exist. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. She also mentioned that like before Bronwyn was on the show, they used to grab dinner with like Lisa and John. And Bronwyn said Lisa would just like want to talk about the show the whole time.
Oh, that's so funny.
So
I mean, I would listen.
I would listen too, but according to Bronwyn, Todd would give it 5 minutes and say, okay, we're not talking about this anymore.
Okay.
She does do a bit of damage control for Todd, but I don't like him.
Yeah. There's not much she can do at this point.
Yeah, but
we'll see what the reunion.
Salt Lake was good though. Salt Lake was a good episode.
Salt Lake, is holding strong. RHONY, not so much. I have a feeling they're going to cancel RHONY. Would you be surprised?
Maybe.
Or brought back RHONY Legacy.
Or keep maybe one or two of the original cast and bring in like a ton of new people.
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like Andy Cohen really stands by this cast though.
Yeah, he does. He loves them a lot.
So we'll see.
We'll see. Okay.
Well, we have Southern Charm airing on Thursday of this week, December 5th, I believe it is. So we will have that to talk about, which will be fun.
So exciting. And I haven't watched the most recent Beverly Hills, so I'm excited to watch that.
All right, well, why don't you go get on that right now?
I'm going to go do that right this second.
Because you're probably jet lagged and tired and just want to die. It's amazing you look as good as you do.
Thank you. That's so nice.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I look good, and I appreciate that.
Well, you do. I would not be looking like that, let me tell you.
Lies, lies, lies. Yeah, I think that's about it for this week. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. As always, liking, sharing, talking, poking, bumping, grinding helps us so much. Even one person can make a big, big difference. It's the butterfly effect. But we're so grateful for you guys.
Isn't it called the domino effect?
Have you not seen the butterfly effect, the movie?
I have, but I thought that was about something different.
Like how one little change can make all the difference.
Fair. Okay, fair. You were right. I was wrong.
They're kind of the same. I think it's same point is what I'm saying.
Okay, sorry I questioned you.
I'll fucking never forget it. So.
And on that note, I have to go do some damage control with Carolyn. So until next time.
Everybody. Until next time.
Bye.
See you soon. Bye. Love you.